our National Credit Helpline, we receive a lot of inquiries from consumers that are being harassed or called by debt collectors that are collecting monies that consumers feel that they don't owe, or monies that have prescribed. In terms of the law, prescription means that if 3 years has passed that you haven't paid a debt, and there has not been an acknowledgement by yourself of that debt, you have not paid anything, there has not been a summons, and there has not been a judgment for that debt, it might be prescribed, which means that you are not liable for paying that debt anymore. The challenge is that a lot of consumers don't know how prescription works, and the mistake that they do is that when the debt collector calls, they acknowledge the debt, and debt collectors are clever. They entice you and say, just pay 5 rand, just pay 20 rand. If you won the lotto, would you pay that debt? The minute you say yes, it means prescription is interrupted, you are liable for that debt. So the clever thing to do is to not acknowledge that debt, is to maybe seek advice and say to them, I don't acknowledge it, I don't owe it, or ask them to give you proof of that debt, because a lot of the time it's been 5 years, 10 years, that account was written off by the shop that you originally entered into the agreement with. It has been sold to the debt collector, and the debt collector then has no proof of the amount that they are claiming from you. If for any reason a debt collector calls you and threatens to list you at the credit bureau, the law is very clear that you are not allowed to be listed at the credit bureau for prescribed debt. But if you get listed for anything that you are not in agreement with, you have the right to dispute that information with the credit bureau. When you lodge a dispute with the credit bureau, they have to block off that information until they receive proof from the person that listed you that that information is correct. If it's not correct, the credit bureau must remove that information. If the credit bureau within 20 business days does not resolve your query to your satisfaction, you have the right to escalate that complaint to the credit ombudsman. The credit ombudsman will now ensure that if the information is incorrect, it must be removed. So don't be threatened by people saying they will list you at the bureau. You have your rights. Ensure that you dispute that information with the credit bureau.